Okay guys, so today we're going to be solving two-step equations day 3 notes. So far, the equations we've been solving have expressions where x is being multiplied by a coefficient, then increased or decreased by or from a constant. So what that means is, so far, our coefficients have been multiplied. So 5x minus 3 equals 7. Over here, you can see the same thing. 18 minus 2 times x equals 12. But the variables can also be divided by a number, then increase or decrease by or from a constant. Let's take a look. So now we're going to have examples where it's x divided by 4 plus 3 equals 8. The process is still going to be the same. We're still going to drop our bar, and we're going to identify the constant. Remember, the constant is that number without a variable. So the constant here is plus 3. So we're going to subtract 3 to get rid of it. These cancel because of the additive inverse property. And then 8 minus 3 is 5. Now this is x, or 1x, divided by 4 equals 5. So if you remember, inverse operation of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply each side by 4 over 1. Essentially, we are applying the multiplicative inverse property so that we can get x by itself. Because remember, with the multiplicative inverse property, 4 over 1 times 1 over 4, that simplifies to 1, or in this case, 1x. And then over here, if the 5 bothers you that it's not a fraction, you can set it over 1. And then remember, when we're multiplying fractions, we multiply straight across. So 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 1 is 1, and 20 divided by 1 is 20. So in this case, x equals 20. So how do we check a problem like this? We just replace x with 20. So 20 divided by 4 plus 3 should equal 8. So we are again going to have to remember PEMDAS. PEMDAS says to divide first. So 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 5 plus 3, second operation add, is in fact 8. So since 8 equals 8, check. We've done this correctly. Now remember, we're going to have negatives too, but the process is still the same. And if you're not good with your integers, you can always use your calculator. So for this next one, we've got a divided by negative 3 plus 7 equals 11. So we're going to drop our bar, and we're going to get rid of our constant. Our constant's positive 7. So we're going to subtract 7. 11 minus 7 is going to give us 4. We're going to bring down a divided by negative 3. I'm going to put the invisible 1 here. So this is 1 divided by negative 3. So how do I get rid of division? I multiply by the reciprocal. So I flip it. So I'm going to multiply by negative 3 over 1. And remember, the bar tells me that I have to do this on both sides. So because this is the multiplicative inverse property, a is by itself, I'm going to set 4 over 1, and I'm going to multiply straight across. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 1 times 1 is 1. And I know that if I divide the negative 12 by 1, my answer is not going to change. So a equals negative 12. So again, how do I check a problem like this? All I do is substitution. So I substitute negative 12 for a. I'm going to divide it by negative 3, and then I'm going to add 7. Why do I add 7 second? Because of PEMDAS. So negative 12 divided by negative 3 is 4. 4 plus 7 would be second, and that's 11. And since 11 equals 11, check. Okay? All right. So hopefully you're starting to get the hang of this. Again, the only difference is in the second step, you are not dividing each side to get the variable by itself. You are multiplying because you have division. Okay, so we're going to drop the bar. We're going to add 4 to each side because the constant's negative 4. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Additive inverse property says goodbye. 1 plus 4 is 5. And then we bring down the y divided by 5. Remember, the coefficient here is 1 divided by 5. So we're going to multiply each side by the reciprocal. Remember, reciprocal, you can flip it, which is 5 over 1. And we're going to see that y equals 25. 5 times 5, 25, divided by 1. Again, to check it, we're going to use substitution. Y is 25. Divide by 5. Subtract 4 second because of PEMDAS. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 minus 4 is in fact 1. So since 1 equals 1, we are in balance. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and turn to the second page of the notes. Okay, we've got 2 more examples here to do together. Now, this next example here is a little bit different because the equal sign is on the left side and the constant is on the right side, but the process is still the same. So we're going to drop the bar. Our constant is here on the right side. It's -6. So we're going to add 6. Goodbye. Add 6. 4 plus 6 is 10. And then we're going to bring down the m over -4. I'm going to put a 1 in front of the m because the reciprocal of 1 divided by -4 is -4 over 1. So I'm going to multiply each side by -4 over 1. And then remember, you can put 10 over 1 because since they're both fractions. So my variable is going to be on the right side. Doesn't matter. Remember, these -1/4 and -4 over 1, they cancel because of the multiplicative inverse property. And now all I have to do is -4 times 10, which is -40, and 1 times 1. But when I take the -40 and I divide by 1, it's not going to change. So m equals -40. Again, I'm going to use substitution to check. So 4 equals -40 divided by -4 minus 6. So 4 is by itself. -40 divided by -4, that's division. That's going to come first. That's going to be 10. And then 10 minus 6 is 4. So 4 equals 4. Check. Okay. So this next problem has a big star next to it because this is a commonly missed question on the unit test. Okay? But the process is still going to be the same. We just have to watch for our negative sign. So I'm going to drop the bar. The constant, again, is on the right side. The constant's 10. So I'm going to subtract 10. Opposite of a positive 10 is -10. I'm going to subtract 10. 1 minus 10 here is -9. And then I'm going to bring down the c over 2. But notice how there's a negative here. This minus means a negative. So when there is a negative there, I'm going to put it with the denominator so I don't forget about it. So when there's a minus sign, put it with the denominator so you don't forget about it. So I'm going to put a 1 in front of the c. The reciprocal of 1 over -2 is to multiply by -2 over 1. Remember, the bar tells me to do that on both sides. I'm going to put a 1 over the -9. C is by itself. And -9 times -2 is +18. So it's very important that you're showing work in this same method, because if you do not show work the same way that I am, you will mess up, okay? And remember, you can always go back and rewatch the video if you need a second explanation, okay? So let's go ahead and check this. 1 equals 10 minus, C is now 18, divide by 2. PEMDAS says to divide first. So -18 divided by 2 is -9. 10 minus 9 is in fact 1. Check. Now, for some reason, if you go to check your work and you're not in balance, meaning the left side and the right side are not equal, that means that your solution, what you found for the variable, is incorrect. So you need to go back and look at your work. All right, so this is practice on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. I want you to do these 6 problems on your own, and then I'll come back for you to check your work. Okay, good luck. Okay, so now you should have had enough time to practice on your own, so let's go over the answers. Luckily for you, for these 6 examples, you did not have to check. However, if you wanted to check, remember, that's always a great strategy, okay? So number 1, you should have gotten x equals 12. For number 2, you should have gotten -30 equals g, or g equals -30. For number 3, you should have gotten k equals 36. For number 4, you should have gotten r equals 20. For number 5, you should have gotten y equals -12. And lastly, for number 6, you should have gotten z equals 20. Okay, so remember, if you don't completely get this, or when you're working on the homework tonight, you can always go back and rewatch parts of this video. Okay, I hope you learned how to solve a 2-step equation with fractional coefficients. See you later.